Hey, Badass Body Workers. Today we have a special guest on the show. Her name is Michelle Hansen, and she is the founder of Embodied Traditions Holistic Abdominal Massage Therapy. Say that 10 times fast. She is from Minnesota. Way too cold up there for me, baby. I'm in Texas. And she's been a massage therapist since 2003 and an abdominal therapist since 2008, which is when I graduated high school. Yeah, a lot of different backgrounds and experiences here. We chat a lot behind the scenes about how amazing you are and the work that you do. You even just trained one of my coworkers, which is awesome. I just had to invite you on the show. So Michelle, welcome to Badass Body Workers. Please let everybody know why they should be following you and how awesome you are.
Thank you, Rebecca. I really appreciate being on your show today. And why you should follow me? Because I teach abdominal therapy to practitioners, and it's life-changing, absolutely life-changing for practitioners and clients. Well, for me, it was originally curiosity. I was burnt out being a nurse, and I wanted a flexible job so I could raise my son. And I found abdominal therapy then, and more out of curiosity, I took the training to see what it was, and it was absolutely life-changing.
Certified completely after one training.
It took me a good year to get really good at it, but people were getting results. I didn't have a lot of people rebooking with me the first year, but now I can't get people off my schedule. I send a lot of people to the students I've trained instead of taking them on myself now. But yeah, the life changes for people.
We get a lot of questions about pregnancy and prenatal, everything from working while pregnant to some of the common misconceptions that everyone knows about. So I kind of wanted to pull some of those up and knock those out right away so we can get into the more interesting stuff. One of the biggest misconceptions that I read all the time is we should not be giving massages to people in the first trimester of their pregnancy. You want to break that one down a bit?
Yes, people absolutely need massages during the first trimester of their pregnancy. I do abdominal therapy during the first trimester. I modify it, of course, but definitely they need massage therapy during pregnancy. I don't do anything different in the first trimester. They can usually lay face down in the very beginning without any issues. I do a lot of deep tissue, I do hot stones, I do cupping throughout the whole pregnancy. There's a lot of people that believe that there are trigger points that can cause women to go into labor, and that's just not true. I have worked really hard on those points to try to put women into labor, and they don't go into labor until the baby's ready to come.
We'd be rich by now if we could just make people go into labor like that.
You cannot. It's no different being pregnant than it is being not being pregnant, except for at some point she's not going to be able to lay face down. And I use a pregnancy table. I know that is controversial. I think that it's absolutely fine.
What table is that, with the hole in it, or does it come with the body system? What does that look like?
There's a hole in my table, and there's a sling that holds the belly. And some people say that it pulls on the ligaments, and it doesn't, as long as it's set up correctly. I've been using a pregnancy table since I think I bought mine in 2008. Yeah, 2008, I bought my pregnancy table. Nobody's ever had an issue with it. And I have a lot of midwives that send their patients to me to help turn breech babies. And none of them have ever had an issue with their patients having problems with their ligaments afterwards. So that's another thing that I think is fear-based.
You had mentioned cupping and hot stones, and there were just some questions online about both of those. What is your take on those during pregnancy?
I don't think that there's any difference. People say that hot stones you can't raise the temperature. Well, you're not going to raise the temperature any more than a shower will. You're just not going to raise the core body temperature using hot stones. I should say any more than a shower or a bath or drinking a cup of tea. And I say that because I was so cold the other day, because I'm in Minnesota and it was freezing. And I had a cup of tea and I got too hot and had to take my sweater off. And there are probably so many women that come in for massage that don't know they're pregnant yet. And you're massaging them like you normally would, and they're fine. There's a lot of fear-based stuff. And some of the fear-based stuff is you should be afraid. But for the most part, I'm not. I don't.
Always
That is what I say to my students. When in doubt, don't.
If your insurance doesn't cover it, and if you're skeptical, you might want to skip it and practice on another LMT friend. I specialize in cupping therapy, so I do cupping on pregnant women, of course, with their permission and as long as there's no other contraindications, but that's my specialty. I've taken many of years and years of classes on cupping. I teach it sometimes. I know what I'm doing. So I feel comfortable with it. I also don't leave them parked either. I move them around just for a little bit of surface level myofascial work and do a little bit of facial cupping as well, because pregnant glow, you want to enhance that and make everybody feel nice. What are some other things that people tend to be a little bit paranoid or fear-based when it comes to this type of either pregnancy work or abdominal type work?
Well, one thing to be concerned about is if somebody has mesh. So knowing how to interview your clients and to see what they have going on, and mesh can be a concern. I modify if somebody has an IUD or if somebody is currently having a menstruation on their period, I'll modify a little bit. Another contraindication with the original training I took was to not work on people during their period. And then another training I took, they wanted you to work on people during their period because that was the best time. There's a belief that we shouldn't be working on women that are currently bleeding, and I do not subscribe to that. Sometimes the easiest way to get the uterus to move is when it's full.
Yeah, I've gotten work done while I've been on my cycle, and because of my EDS, most of us, we tend to have pretty heavy menstruation. I went up to Detroit and a friend of mine worked on me, and I knew I needed womb healing. I think I just had my IUD taken out, or I was about to, and it was just such a very tumultuous time for me in my life, and I was hypothetically shedding a lot of stuff. I just remember her womb work on me. Everything balanced out afterwards. I stopped getting my cycle every 2 weeks. It took a round or two, but it finally got back to every 28 or so days, normal, thank God. Of course, the stuff that I was going through in my life was very indicative of what was going on inside my body. I mean, we didn't learn about this stuff in school. I learned about a lot of this from you or from one of my mentors that does a lot of visceral work. I still have just barely scratched the surface of the iceberg. Have no idea all the different types of abdominal therapy.
So the PMS, the ovaries talk to the pituitary gland, and that helps to balance your hormones. If there's stagnation in your belly, or if your uterus and your ovaries are out of balance, opening that up, getting your uterus in the correct position and opening up that flow in the abdomen can help balance the hormones. So you don't have that emotional PMS stuff going on, and you have better flow and you have better movement in your abdomen.
Sometimes I wonder in Badass Body Workers, how many of us are on our cycle at any given moment? Because some of the conversations can get a little wild sometimes.
Yeah. I am trained in Maya abdominal therapy, Chi Nate Song, and visceral manipulation. And each time I have taken another training, it has filled in a lot of holes where one of the trainings was missing. I did Maya abdominal therapy for about 7 years before I took any other training. Then when I took Chi Nate Song, I realized how much was missing from that training. And don't get me wrong, Maya abdominal therapy is amazing. I did a lot of amazing work when I only had that technique. Bringing in another form of abdominal therapy just was such a game changer for me. Then I got really curious, and one of my friends told me about visceral manipulation. So I took the first 3 levels of visceral manipulation and filled in a lot of holes and actually brought the work so much deeper. I had components of all 3, and then just a lot of things that I have come up with along the way. As my work has gone deeper, techniques have shifted, and so they don't even look like the original techniques that I learned. And then my students come in with some pretty interesting things too, and I'm like, what are you doing? Or no, they just are doing something that they think is what I taught them, and it's totally different, and I love it. And so we'll add that. We'll add different techniques.
Going back to visceral massage, can you explain what that is to people who have no idea?
The visceral organs are just all of our organs: the liver, stomach, intestines, gallbladder, pancreas. kidneys, the uterus. And then this is really great for men too. Focusing on the visceral organs is every organ has its own movement. So really focusing on that subtle movement of the visceral organs is great. I do suggest to my students that they actually take visceral manipulation training, because I am not going into the depth of it when I'm teaching, but I'm teaching components of it. Shinate Song comes from China, and I go into the in-depth of where these actually come from in the class.
Like acupressure based?
Shinate Song is Chinese abdominal therapy. Yes, there's a lot of acupressure points with Shinate Song. I'm not really sure. It comes from the, I'm feeling flustered all of a sudden. I don't know why.
It's all good.
I need to just, okay. Shinate Song is a massage from China that focuses in on clearing, balancing, and transforming the life force energy and in the abdomen. There's a lot to Shinate Song as a practice. The techniques, when I added Shinate Song to the Maya abdominal therapy techniques, it changed the massage I was giving. It absolutely changed it.
I feel like Eastern modalities definitely bring in the missing pieces that Western culture and anatomy and everything, we're just not taught in school. I learned so much. One of my mentors whenever I was in massage school was one of my teacher's son, and he was an acupuncturist, and he taught me fire cupping. I was still just a little baby therapist right out of high school. Mm-hmm. And I'm over here learning from somebody who's like, this is his culture, this is his tradition. Then I got to go to Mexico and learn from some Mayan medicine men, which was incredible as well. And then when I went to Turkey, my friend's grandma, she was doing cupping in her backyard in Turkey, and I'm like, oh, I can do this for y'all. And they were just astounded that an American knew how to do this. And it's amazing when you can learn from different cultures. It just fills in the gaps so much of what we're missing in school and in a lot of classes.
My fire cupping teacher was a Chinese acupuncturist, and he was such an incredible teacher. What an absolute gift.
So if I went online and booked an appointment with you right now and walk in, what can I expect for a typical session?
I have people fill out paperwork, and it's fairly extensive, not super extensive, because a lot of stuff comes out when you're talking and doing the intake. So the paperwork guides the intake, and there's a pretty extensive intake. I know what people are needing and what they're coming in with and what their health history has been like. And I do some teaching. So we get out the uterus. We get out the sacrum.
Yes.
Talk about the sacrum. We talk about the pelvis, front and back. We talk about the muscles and what I'll be working on, and more on the sacrum and the nervous system that's connected to the sacrum and the blood flow that's connected to the sacrum. We talk about the pelvic floor, depending on what people are coming in with. We'll talk about all of that stuff. And then they also get a belly care guide.
I love that.
Yes. So it's several pages, and we talk about castor oil packs and how important they are to the work. I teach people how to make them and everything that they need to know about castor oil packs.
Yes, that's a very hot topic in the group.
Yeah, it's so important. And when I first started doing this work back in 2008, nobody was doing castor oil packs. Now, I'd say half of my clients, or maybe more than half my clients now, are already doing them, which is really awesome. And then I teach them the belly care to do at home. I give them homework. I teach them steps to do at home, either so they don't have to come back or so they can go further in our sessions together. And it does make a big difference when people are doing their homework. Then I have cautions and contraindications in here and what to expect after their session. Those are all on my website too.
Do you like to use a particular type of oil, massage cream?
So I use castor oil in the massage, and I mix it with coconut oil so that it's not so thick. It's great. It's great for scar tissue, for pink eye, for sunburn, for eyelashes and eyebrows. I teach them that, and then I'll have them get on the table and we'll do the anterior portion of the massage. Put the castor oil pack on, and then I'll work, other areas that need to be worked on while the castor oil pack is on. And then I teach the personal care massage, and then I will have my client turn over. The sacral work is absolutely necessary. The sacral and hip work is absolutely necessary to go along with the anterior, just because there's so much movement that happens in the pelvis, and there's so much that gets stuck in the pelvis that when this is stuck, and vice versa. And opening that up for better movement, it can just make a whole big difference.
Love the visual references. That's awesome.
And
My favorite.
What's that?
So the ovary was my favorite.
Oh, this is the uterus.
Yes.
The uterus, it's a happy uterus, and this is a very upset uterus.
I love it. Do you place it inside the
pelvis? Well, this is actually too big for this pelvis. So everything's backwards here. When I'm teaching, I use these uteri. This is the uterus. This is the size of our uterus. This is the size of a regular uterus. It's about 4 ounces. This is the size when it's full of blood. So I like to put it in the pelvis and show where the uterus belongs in the pelvis. So normally we don't feel our pelvis, but for those that have painful menstruation, when it's full of blood and if it's sitting in the wrong place, it can feel heavy. If it's sitting backwards, it can cause back pain. If it's sitting too far forward, it can cause bladder issues. On the side, if it's tipped to the side, it can cause stagnation in the legs or varicose veins, all kinds of issues. Now, I'll tell you, in Western medicine, a tipped uterus is considered normal. In what I do, a tipped uterus is never normal. It's really common, but it's never, ever normal. It can cause a whole host of issues.
Yeah, mine is. Yay.
Yours, it's tilted? Okay, but you don't have pain.
No pain. Just a lot of bladder issues. Yay.
The work is amazing for fertility too. It's really renowned for fertility. Actually, let me tell you a story. The first client I ever had, I took my very first training back in 2008. I had a massage client who had been trying to conceive for a year. I didn't know she was trying to conceive, but she just happened to tell me, and it was literally the day after I got back from my training, and I was super excited to try this on someone. And she said, oh yeah, we've been trying for a year and we're gonna have to start IVF. And I said, oh, let me try this on you. And I did step 1, step 2, step 3. I just did everything exactly how I was trained. And she called me a couple weeks later and she was pregnant. And that was it. After that, that's all I wanted to do. She sent everyone to me that she knew. It took off from there. My business just took off from there.
Yeah, that's definitely one hell of a glowing review.
Oh my gosh. And she had a huge friend group, and she was really open about her fertility issues. She was really open. She was one of those people that she had nothing to hide.
Yes. And I am not as well versed in this type of work as you, and I just do the basic prenatal massage every now and then. But one thing that I've seen in common with people who say that they have a hard time conceiving is that they're definitely living in fight or flight, in stress mode. I tell these high stress women, whenever you're running from a tiger, the last thing your body cares about is making babies and digesting food. It cares about getting air to your lungs and blood to your heart so you can run and get the fuck out. So if you're under this constant state of stress, your body is not going to be in the right condition that it needs to be in order for that process to start happening. And I mean, that's about as far as I've gotten with that type of stuff, but it just breaks my heart to know that so many women they're wanting this so badly, but their life is so stressful. And then of course we've all heard the story of they adopted, and then whoop, 2 months later.
Yep. Yeah, it's amazing how the nervous system plays such a big part in fertility. And that's a big part of the work I do, is just bringing the nervous system down to helping people get out of fight or flight. I had a client who had come to see me a couple times, and I noticed on her website then that she was calling herself an abdominal therapist. So I reached out to her and I said, hey, I noticed that you have on your website that you are an abdominal therapist, and I really, really encourage you to take the training because there's so much more to it than having a couple sessions. So she did take my training, and she was in tears because of all that she had learned, and just being afraid that she may have harmed someone, which I'm sure she didn't. But the training goes so much further than what you're feeling when you're having a session. I'm so proud of her for taking the training and going to the depth that she did. I'm just so proud. I absolutely adore her.
So for other people that might want to take your training, do you do it in person, online, both? How long can they expect for the training? Like what's that experience like?
It's a 5-day training. The first day is on Zoom. So we go through all the didactics, all the book work. They get 134 pages right now, student handbook.
Do they get their own little crocheted ovaries and uterus?
Well, I want to learn how to crochet so I can make everybody a uterus, but I haven't learned how to yet. But everybody gets a book on, yeah, if anybody knows how to crochet, I would love these right here, but I also want ovaries with them.
I like the angry one.
So they get a student handbook that goes along with the Zoom class. And then it's 4 days in person. It's a really intense 4 days. I know some trainings that you take the self-care massage separately, and then the anterior separately, and then the posterior. It's 3 different classes. If you're traveling, it's 3 different times of travel. I teach it all in one class. So there's not a lot of time for like goofing off.
Are your classes mostly in Minnesota, or do you travel? And if you do, what is the requirements for that, like minimum students and stuff?
My classes so far have all been in Minnesota. I have them in the warm months. Actually, my last class that was in September the weather was absolutely stunningly gorgeous. It's kind of nice when it's not so nice out because we're inside a lot. So when it's nice out, my students try to get outside as much as possible. It's near the airport, a hotel that is literally right across the parking lot from the classroom. And there are airport shuttles that pick people up. The Mall of America is right across the street, and there's a bunch of restaurants. So it's really accessible for people coming in from out of town.
What city?
It's in Bloomington, Minnesota. But I'm not opposed to traveling. I just haven't. I need a minimum of 6 students that are signed up and committed for me to go somewhere else.
Hell yeah. There's so many threads online of women who are just starting their practice and they only want it to be just women, or they're transitioning to women only. And I have a couple of friends who have a staff of people. So maybe a staff might be interested if they're wanting to focus more on transitioning their practice to this type of work. How many CE credits come with this?
So it's 24 and a half CE credits right now.
If I could whistle, I would have whistled, but that's awesome. I'm sure it's a pretty intense, comprehensive, in-depth.
Very comprehensive. It's very in-depth. There's a lot of information in one class, but it's doable. It's totally doable.
What other type of things should students know about this type of work?
It's really great for women. It's amazing for men. It's not just the female reproductive system. It's really important for the male reproductive system. Women have so much stagnation in their abdomen that is causing so many issues for them, but so do men. And it's also really great for children. I don't work on children very often, but I do have practitioners that do work on children, and this can be life-changing for children as well. So that's really important. It's important to follow the cautions and contraindications that I teach when doing the abdominal therapy. And also, like we said earlier, when in doubt, don't. I repeat that over and over in class. If you have any concerns about someone, you can't save everyone.
Yes. Well, speaking of people that need saving, great segue. I pulled up some posts on Badass Body Workers, and I wanted to read through them just in case we missed anything in our chat. So this first one says, I would love ideas on how to advertise that I do prenatal. There's many massage therapists in town and I opened my business, but that's one service they don't offer. I would like to make sure it is known that I offer this and hopefully be half of my clients. So what's your best marketing strategies for prenatal, for getting those types of clients in your door?
Building a name for yourself is really important. Letting people know why prenatal massage is important. I think there's a lot of people during pregnancy that still don't understand the benefits of prenatal massage. Getting yourself out, marketing yourself. I mean, this person wants to be known as a prenatal specialist. Connecting with midwives and the birth community is so important.
Yeah, we could definitely do a whole episode just on marketing. The next question says, I have a potential prenatal client, but she's looking for prenatal massage to help reach her baby flip, which is something I know a regular prenatal therapist will help with. Is a therapist in my area who knows a lot more. I think this client might get better results going to see her. She isn't due until November, but the other therapist books up fast. Should I just refer her out and hope that she can get in? Or there's some simple techniques I can use to get the results she's looking for? This is an example of when in doubt, don't. But let's talk a little bit about the breech baby and the flipping.
So the techniques I teach in class can help babies flip. We don't flip babies. We give babies the opportunity to flip. We give them the space in the room to be able to flip. They don't all flip, but I had 3 in 1 week that all flipped. That was fun recently. But teaching techniques on how to make space. I don't think I commented on that post just because it's there's too much to it to ask how to flip a baby. I shouldn't say how to flip a baby, but how to help a baby flip in a Facebook post. I really encourage people to take the training because it's actually not very difficult to help make space for somebody who's pregnant. And not all pregnancy trained therapists know how to do abdominal work.
Same. I just know how to do a basic prenatal massage. I still have so much to learn when it comes to this type of work. I know we went over hot stones already. This other one says, what are some other things that made you want to do prenatal massage? Do you charge extra? What are some things to be aware of when doing prenatal? We did cover a lot of that already, but one thing we didn't cover is to upcharge or not to upcharge. What do you think about that?
I have one price for everything, and people get what they need in their session. So if they want anything extra, it's theirs, as long as it's within the time frame that they scheduled.
So in lieu of my face, I am going to put your QR code on the screen so people can scan that. But God, I have to tell you this story before we off this episode. Where I work, first of all, I love where I work. I love my job. But when people call to book a prenatal massage, we don't call the massage what it's listed as on the website. We just say prenatal massage because the name of it is Who's Your Daddy? God, I wish you could see my face right now. I don't know why I can't show my camera, but they literally say Who's Your Daddy?
No.
Website. And my response was, oh my God, only a man could come up with this ridiculous ass name. And part of me wants to tell my prenatal clients, please tell the front desk you don't know who the baby daddy is. So inappropriate.
Not all of my prenatal clients or my fertility clients have a daddy.
Exactly. That was the point. That's the point I was trying to make. That's why we refuse to say, is your dad? But some other cool names that I have heard for prenatal massages, I used to name mine Mommy to Be, and then the other one was like Pea in a Pod. I think they're cute and appropriate. There's some really clever names. I'm sure you've seen plenty of them out there. I don't know if you remember any or have a favorite.
Who's your daddy? And I said some people have 2 mommies. Some people only have 1 mommy. I have a lot of clients that are coming in with the plan of being a single parent.
Yes, that's clean energy right there.
And I love it. I love helping these people through fertility. Yeah, Pea in a Pod is cute.
And if anyone wants to help their education and learn more about this type of work, definitely scan this QR code. It'll take you right to Michelle's website, and we're going to have the links and everything below in the show notes. Don't be afraid to open up a conversation with her. So thank you so much, Michelle, for being on the show and hanging out with us for a little bit.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. I wish you were here. I want to see your face, but
Bye.
Hi, Rebecca. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle. We'll talk soon.
Okay, sounds good.